I did then what I know how to do. Now that I know better, I do better. Maya Angelou. Our prison system was created at a very different time than it is now. When it was created, it worked, and we weren't focused on rehabilitation or reintroduction into society. But now we are seeing high recidivism rates and very, very low rehabilitation. I chose this Maya Angelou quote because we need to take it into consideration when we talk about our prison system. We know that things will work better, yet we are not doing better. Our current prison system makes it nearly impossible for convicted felons to survive in the outside world and leads to extremely high recidivism rates. According to Julia Bowling for the Brennan Center for Justice, removing able-bodied working-age people from the labor market lowers the quality of our workforce and permanently damages their employment and educational opportunities. Incarceration rates affect everyone. They affect the opportunities of those incarcerated, they affect families, and they affect our society. Our prisons have become much less about rehabilitation and have become to work as holding cells until the next crime is committed. As psychologist James Gilligan for the New York Times states, but that is altogether different from gratuitously inflicting pain on them for the sake of revenge or to teach them a lesson, for the only lesson learned is to inflict pain on others. Now we will listen to Liz Sanchez speak about her father for Alliance for Safety and Justice and their campaign, Time Done.
The assignment was write a book about your dad. So in the book, it's pretty much all lies. Things we did together or things that he did, like occupation wise, and none of it was true. I'm not generally a liar. I'm a pretty honest person, but I didn't feel like that space was there for me to tell the truth about my dad. I really didn't feel like anyone would understand. When I was 3 years old, I came in contact with the criminal justice system through my dad's felony conviction. My entire childhood experiences had told me that lying was the answer. I mean, people, they're just not willing to look past what a conviction means. My dad's conviction tore our family apart, and I saw that play out firsthand in my sister, who at 21, she ended up receiving her own felony conviction. Hearing that there are 40,000 legal restrictions and barriers on people that have records is just, I mean, it's infuriating. These are people that have done their time. I am now living through this to find collateral consequences as the impact that it has on a family. I am a collateral consequence. I'm hopeful that we can break that cycle. People across the country, like me, and hopefully you, are standing together to say no more to barriers. We're standing together in the Time Done movement to say yes to opportunities. Join the Time Done movement, and together, let's prepare the road to redemption.
Liz Sanchez's story is a sad one, but rings true to many families. Her father was convicted of a felony when she was 3 years old, and after serving his time was still unable to find a job and unable to do things that most fathers would be able to do with their daughters. Her sister was then convicted of a felony at 21 and fell into the cycle of crime. Though no recidivism is in this story, it's in many others. To put these recidivism rates into proportion, Matt Clark from Prison Legal News states, overall, almost 45% of the former prisoners were arrested within 1 year of release. 16% were arrested for the first time in the second year, 8% in the third, 11% in 4 to 6, and 4% in years 7 to 9. Thus, about 68% were arrested within 3 years, 79% within 6, and 83% within 9. Our prisons and justice system claim to help survivors, but in reality, the tough on crime policies only further the cycle of crime. In reality, the introduction of rehabilitation programs and investment into education helps heal the community as well as the survivor. By learning everything there is to know about an inmate's experience, prisons can help them access programs such as substance abuse rehab and GED programs. These programs within prisons give inmates a better chance in their communities and lessen their chances of recidivism. The Department of Justice is also calling for more mental health-based approaches to rehabilitation rather than strictly punishment-based approaches. Tricia Forbes for Alliance for Safety and Justice writes, I have learned through my past work as a victim advocate that preventing crimes like sexual violence and creating a more humane criminal justice system are not opposing goals. The vast majority of incarcerated women and a large number of incarcerated men are themselves victims of physical or sexual abuse who need mental health services, addiction treatment, counseling, and support rather than longer prison sentences. These traumatic events that affect our inmates can lead them to commit crimes and lead to higher recidivism rates if they are not given the help that they need within these prisons. The main barrier is politics. Tough on crime politicians are popular, spending money is not. It's that simple. Politicians aren't ready to hear the calls for reform and continue to support harmful policies. As Rebecca McCrae for the Take Part organization states, there is nothing broken about our system of policing, courts, and prisons. Rather, it is working exactly as intended, to punish and incapacitate those who violate the rule of law. Why are we incapacitating those who violate our laws? Wouldn't we rather reintroduce them into our society and have them become helpful and successful members of our communities? To help advocate for programs such as rehabilitation and community programs, I ask you to donate money and/or time to Alliance for Safety and Justice. It was founded in Northeast Ohio and campaigns for crime prevention and rehabilitation. Though founded here in Ohio, the ASJ has campaigned in 9 states and works with political leaders to help reform prisons. They also fund trauma recovery centers for communities and individuals affected by violent crimes. They lead chapters of crime victims banded together to work towards rehabilitation, and their unique stories help influence politicians and civilians alike, all rallying to clean up crime-stricken communities and lower recidivism rates. There are a multitude of issues that affect a former inmate's chances of reincarceration. But with the incorporation of in-prison rehabilitation programs, reincarceration rates are dropping. The American prison system is a complex issue, as many systematic issues add up to create our problematic prison system. It's easy to write prisoners off as bad people and move on with the day, but incarceration could happen to anyone, and it is important to focus on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Everyone deserves a second chance, but we must make sure we are providing a structured second chance and not throwing former inmates to the wolves. Here are my references.